Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Talabhaktaya Namo Namaha. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Darasarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Darasarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And all our Rupa Nuga Guru Varga and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams. So today is a very vigorous day. It's a very energetic day. We're going to travel a long way today. This, I think, is perhaps the longest Parikrama day that we have. When we went to Mahavan and Gokul and those places, Dauji, that was pretty long. That was the second longest, but today is the very longest. And we've just had 3 blissful days of rest physically, but internally probably we became more restless hearing of all the monumental seva that these great personalities that we glorified for those 3 days performed during their manifest pastimes. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Vamana Maharaj, Srila Trivikrama Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Sirup Siddhanti Maharaj. These personalities performed such powerful seva. Seva is the symptom of love. It exhibits one's love. So this we are appreciating. And perhaps by hearing of those glories, our desire, because seva has no end, it's unlimited. However much we're doing, I can remember with my Gurudev, who was practically doing 365 festivals a year, practically every day of his life, he would be arranging something with the devotees in a festive mood. But he himself thought that he was never ever doing enough to satisfy his beloved Gurudev. He was always feeling that there was a shortfall. So this mood of enthusiasm to render service is continually growing in the heart of the sadhak. So today, as we come out of our Giridhari Gaudiya Math, we can be remembering these divine personalities who walked amongst us and gave us this inspiration for increased service and enthusiasm. There is no other way that we can connect with Krishna except through this utsaha, this enthusiastic remembrance of Krishna and service to his divine associates in the form of our Rupa Nuga Guru Vargya. So today we're leaving very early from the Giridhari Gaudiya Math, and there's 2 different routes that we can go on. I'm not sure specifically which route they will take spontaneously. You can either go via Varshana and Nandagaon, and then you double back, so to speak, and drive on one horrendous road to Kamyavan. The road is completely full of potholes because they've been mining the mountains in Kamyavan for a number of years, and they have the most heavy-duty trucks that pound along this road regularly. So it's in such a shocking condition. It will, challenge even the strongest of us to endure that rigorous journey. Or there's an alternative route, which I think they may go on, which is via Dig and Adi Bhadri and coming around to the north into Kamyavan itself. The actual miles are a little longer, but the road is certainly much more gentle on the bones and the nervous system. So today we're going to take that road. And I'm not sure which road the actual party will be taking today, but we've taken either of these roads at different times. So today our first stop will be in the township of Dig. Dig is on the very boundaries of Braj. It's practically part of Rajasthan, in fact. So this is the first stop we'll make. And traditionally, we would always go to the house of one very favorable, friendly disciple of Srila Gurudev, and he would have organized many of the local people to make a huge breakfast for us. So this would be our first breakfast of the day. Today we're having 2 breakfasts, but this will be the first one. And he would traditionally make khichdi and halva and dahi and serve sweets also in his house. He had a large house with verandas and so on. So we would all stay there. Dig is a very sacred place. It's a Parikrama Stali, of course. Now there's a large fortress there from the Rajputras, those warrior-type personalities from Rajasthan. And in that fortress, because one year we all stayed overnight in that place, and looking around in the morning, there's an incredible garden inside that fortress. It's just really exquisite. It gives us a memory of how Vrindavan must have looked when it was cared for and tended nicely. Beautiful flowers of every sort, blossoming trees, etc., vines, and so many birds and wildlife attracted to that place. So this is if we come, any of us traveling through that area, you go into the fortress and you go into you have to go through gates to get into the garden. That's why it's so nice, because it's tended and cared for and guarded. And there's not a lot of monkeys to wreck the place. So that particular garden is certainly worth looking at. Srila Gurudev would like to walk in that garden when we came and stayed that overnight there in Dig. Also, I'll just read from Gurudev's Parikrama book about this township of Dig. He says that coming from Chatikara, Nanda Baba camped at Dhiravali. So Dhiravali is just before Dig. From there he came to this place and camped here. In other words, he stayed here for some time before proceeding to Kamyavan. From Kamyavan, Nanda Baba went to Nandagaon. At this place, Sri Krishna shook or loosened Digar, the patience, religiosity, and bashfulness of Srimati Radhika, by the charm of his beauty and the sweetness of his Venu. Hence this place has been named Dig. So what a beautiful name. What a remarkable description. That Krishna loosened the patience, religiosity and bashfulness of Sri Radhika by his beauty and charm. And this loosened in Brijbhasha is Digar. So now this town is called Digar. They call it Dirgapur, is what its full name is. And Gurudev is also describing that this place is also famous during Treta Yuga, just as Satrughna and Bharatji inhabited Mathura and Bharatpur respectively, so Lakshmanji resided in Dirgapur. There is a famous temple of Lakshmanji here. Krishna Kund, Shakshi Gopal Mandir, and Rupasagar are some of the places to be seen here. The Braj Yatra camps here while performing Parikrama. So we also camped there in the past. So we're going to stop and experience the tranquil atmosphere of that place. It's a very blissful place to be, and very tall trees, and it's a very beautiful place, Dig. So from Dig we go straight, still going west from Govardhan, before we turn to go north to come around to Kamyavan. And on the way west, the next place we come to, which is on the list today, is Adi Bhadri. So this Adi Bhadri is, of course, actually right in the Himalayas. And Badrinath is that place where Vyasadeva has his cave close by. And if we travel sometime on different parikrama right up there, it's a most beautiful, charming place to be. It's extremely cold, of course, and it's extremely high up. But the Brijbasis at one time, they wanted to travel to there. And Krishna, he manifested that holy place here within Vrindavan Parikrama, within the Vrindavan VRAJA-MANDAL. So I'm going to read again what Srila Gurudev writes about this Adi Bhadri. Once, Nanda and the other Gopas and Gopis desired to go to Bhadri Narayan in the Himalayas. Understanding this to be their heartfelt desire, Sri Krishna brought them here for darshan of Adi Bhadri. Adi Bhadri is the source of even Bhadri Vishal, located in the Himalayas. One may have darshan of Bhadri Narayan, Naranarayan Rishi, Kuvera, Narada Rishi, Uddhavji and others here. Indra sent apsaras to break the tapasya of Naranarayan Rishi, but Naranarayan Rishi manifested Urvasi from his left thigh and shattered the pride of Indra. Just as Alakananda and Taptakund are situated in Bhadri in the Himalayas, they are also present here. The water of Taptakund in Bhadri is hot, but the water of Taptakund here is presently cool. So this is a little description of the history of Bhadri Narayan. Of course, we can open this out at length at another time, but we can get an idea of the atmosphere of this place where these sages and rishis have dwelt in the past. A little further on, I'm continuing reading here, a little further on from Adi Bhadri, on top of the hill, is the divine darshan of Bude Bhadri, Gandhamadana Hill, Tapovan and so on. This is a very attractive place and is surrounded by lush green mountain ranges. This is the place of worship of many rishis and munis, and also of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The natural scenery of this place resembles that of Bhadri Narayan. Below the hills of Adi Bhadri is the village of Alipur, inhabited by people of the Meva caste. So when we travel to this place, we walk up a lot of steps and we come into this very beautiful circular area, and deep in the center is a kund, and all around the top part are many cottages like cabins where traditionally pilgrims can stay the night, and there's a place for a fire, etc. Because certainly most of the year it's a little chilly there, even in the summer months, which makes it a very attractive place to be in the hot Vrindavan summer. It's always a little bit cool because ultimately it's the replica of the Bhadri Narayan ashram in Badrinath in the Himalayas. So we come to this very beautiful place today and take darshan and remember how Krishna manifested this place for the pleasure of the Brijbasis. So Adi Bhadri ki jai. So now proceeding from Adi Bhadri, we're going to take this northern route. And as I said previously, it's a little bit longer, the journey, but we can save the wear and tear on our bodies because the road is certainly a lot better. So we're going to travel perhaps some 20 or 30 kilometers, and then we'll come to the forest of Kamyavan. Kamyavan is a huge forest. It covers a large ground, and Nandagaon and Varshana, they back onto Kamyavan. Practically, Varshana is on the very border of Kamyavan, and Uchagaon, which is right next to Varshana, the home of Lalita Devi, that's actually in Kamyavan. If we traveled from Varshana directly north and not take the main road but take a track road, you can come very quickly to the township of Kamyavan. Previously, we would take that road with the tractor and trailer with all our baggage and cooking gear, and we would travel on that inside road. And it's a very short journey, and there's some very wonderful parikrama places on that road. There's one very beautiful forest of massive kadamba trees, huge kadamba trees, with large shady branches, and beautiful kunds are there. So it's a very attractive place to remember to take that alternative route to Kamyavan. If you're just in a four-wheel drive, for example, you can travel from Varshana. Directly behind Varshana, you go on the road to Uchagaon, beside there, and then you keep going north, and you come very quickly to Kamyavan. Otherwise, you take the road via Nandagaon, and you go on the general road, which, as I described before, is shocking. So we don't want to go that road today anyway. So now we've come in this back road via Dig and Adi Bhadri, and we've come into this beautiful forest of Kamyavan. And Gurudev describes this forest, and I'll read something from his description in the VRAJA-MANDAL Parikrama book. Gurudev is saying that Kamyavan is the fourth among the 12 forests of VRAJA-MANDAL. This will be after Mahavan, after Vrindavan. I'm not sure what the third large forest is, but certainly those two. Mahavan is considered the biggest, Mahavan. That's where Gokul is. And then Vrindavan, because there is Brihad Vrindavan, there is Greater Vrindavan also. So Vrindavan is a very large forest, and Kamyavan is described as the fourth large forest. So Kamyavan is the fourth among the 12 forests of VRAJA-MANDAL, and it is one of the topmost forests. The fortunate person who circumambulates this forest is revered within Brajadam. What to speak of circumambulating this forest during the month of Kartik, Radha's month, and under the guidance of a Rasik Vaishnava. O Maharaj, Gurudev continues, thereafter lies Kamyavan, where Brajendranandan Sri Krishna performed many childhood pastimes. Bathing in Kam and other ponds in this forest fulfills all kinds of desires, even the desire for service to Krishna that is imbued with prem. The word Kam can only really be used to denote the gopis' prem for Krishna. Premaiva Gopa Ramanam Karam iti Agamata Pratam. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In other words, the pure prem of the gopis exists solely to give Krishna happiness and does not carry even the slightest scent of worldly lust. It's described in the Venugita. Gurudev describes that the gopis are always considering how to satisfy Krishna's calm. Their lives are immersed in this contemplation of how to satisfy the calm of Krishna. And as we're saying here, this calm is the transcendental prem, not anything to do at all with the material lust of this world. In other words, the pure prem of the gopis exists solely to give Krishna happiness and does not carry even the slightest scent of worldly lust. In the scriptures, it is only this prem that is referred to as calm. The pure prem of the gopis is wholly opposite to the lusty desires in this world. The only aim of the gopis' calm, which is devoid of all varieties of such lust, is to give happiness to Krishna, the abode of prem. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures refer to the pure and unadulterated prem of the gopis as calm. Kamyavan is the pastime place where the divine couple Sri Radha and Krishna express such transcendental prem. In this forest, one can even attain quite easily the gopis' genuine prem in the form of pure calm, What to speak of being able to fulfill all kinds of worldly desires? The word kamya means extremely beautiful, well adorned, or highly attractive. This forest within VRAJA-MANDAL is a most charming pastime place of Sri Krishna. Many pleasant lakes, wells, ponds, trees, creepers, flowers, fruits, and species of birds contribute to the extraordinary beauty. Hence, it is called Kamyavan. So now we've arrived at this splendid forest. We won't, of course, today see with our material eyes the extreme beauty of this forest, but there will be little pockets along the way that we will get a glimpse to appreciate how beautiful it was previously. There are definitely some places we see that are still able to give that impression of its original beauty, the tall trees, the shady branches they give, etc. So we can still appreciate it to some degree. But also by hearing about its beauty, we can enter into that land. And now Gurudev describes some of the pastime places. I'll just read a little bit of this and we can get an idea of the extent of the number of pastime places here. So Gurudev describes, according to the Vishnu Purana, there are 84 sacred ponds, 84 temples, and 84 pillars in Kamyavan. It is said that a famous king named Kamasen established them all. It is also accepted that the demigods and demons jointly constructed 168 pillars here. So then there's a long list of all these different 84 tirthas that reside in Kamyavan. And we can appreciate, as I've mentioned previously in another audio, we used to camp here originally for 3 or 4 days, and we would satellite out to so many of these places. We would reside, our party, in the Vimal Kund area, which is the center of Kamyavan, or the center of attraction in Kamyavan. There is the township, and then the center of most of the pastimes is around Vimal Kund. So we would stay there and then visit all of these, or so many of these pastime places. Today our journey is much shorter because we just have the single day, but nevertheless we're going to cover all the main places around here. So we've come into Kamyavan, and before we actually come to Vimal Kund, the first place we're going to visit is the Bhojan Thali. This Bhojan Thali is situated on a very nice kund that in previous years was actually almost dried up completely. But there's a little water there. We can take archaman and we can remember its pristine beauty in previous years. And there's a large bathing gut. There's many stairs, stone stairs, climbing up the side of that kund that is dried up. And just to the side of those steps, there's a small kind of chamber place that has been built around these very large stones, where we can see directly the impressions of the plates of the sakas, the talis, where they would put their talis, they would put their plates, and their plates have melted a shape into the rocks where they would eat from. And traditionally, when we go to this place, Bhojan Thali, all the devotees are encouraged to bring different offerings to offer into these two very large, almost like basins within the stones. And we place all kinds of things that we've just bought, snacks and stuff like that, biscuits and dates and fruits and whatever we have brought along with us. And we make a very large pile there, and Gurudev will come and he'll offer everything at that place to the divine personalities, the Ishtadevs of this wonderful stali. So this is it's a place to really wake up and appreciate that this is where the cowherd boys and Krishna performed so many of their pastimes in this area, because we see directly the impressions of their footprints also. We're going to see a lot of footprints today of the cows and of the suckers in particular, which are spread all around this area. So now we're taking darshan of this wonderful Bhojan Thali, and I'm going to read what Srila Gurudev has written about this place. Gurudev has written, some distance from Vyomasura's cave, which we'll go to shortly, is Bhojan Thali, and near Bhojan Thali is Shir Saga, or Krishna Kund. After killing Vyomasura, Sri Krishna bathed in this kund and ate here with the Gopasakas. The marks of a plate, tala, and of cups are still visible on the hill where they are, Bhojankiya. The place where Sri Krishna was sitting is also nearby. After eating, Krishna played with the sakas on a nearby hill, where they used a stone as a musical instrument. This place can also still be found today. To this day, various sweet sounds can still be produced by playing on this stone, which is known as Bhajani Shila. So we can go and visit that stone of Bhajani Shila, and you tap it with a stick and it rings, it resonates, it makes beautiful musical sounds. So the sakas, they would play so simply and so beautifully with all this natural paraphernalia, with the natural paraphernalia of the forest area around here, to their great satisfaction. They didn't depend on anything for they would make balls out of the flowers, and they would imitate the frogs, and they would chase the monkeys around, and they would run on the shadows of the birds. The birds would be flying overhead, and they would run along following the shadow of the birds. So many games that Krishna and Balaram created amongst the sakas. Young boys in a mood of great happiness and unbounded pleasure and freedom would play and roam in these beautiful forests. So much of this area is about Krishna and his sakas relishing the sweetness of the area for their cow grazing pastimes. So after Bhojan Thali, we walk through some pathways across the fields, and eventually we come to the side of a very large hill. We could almost say it's like a little mountain. And we climb. There's steps now. Previously there were no steps. We would just follow a footpath, a towpath. But now there's been steps cut into the side of the hill, and we can climb right up the top of the hill and see the cave directly of Vyomasura. So we remember this beautiful pastime of Vyomasura. There are 21 recorded demons that visit Vrindavan, that Krishna purifies, and Vyomasura is the final demon. He's considered the very last one. Prior to that there was Keshi, and then this demon is Vyomasura. Vyoma is coming from the word Paravyoma, which means the one who can fly in the sky. So Vyomasura had great mystical powers. He was the son of Mayasura. So he had great mystical abilities to fly. And then one day, Krishna and the cowherds, they were playing here on the mountain slopes, and they played a game of thieves and cowherds. And the thieves had to steal the sheep, and they were protectors of the sheep. Krishna would arrange wonderful games between him and the sakas. and they played this game fearlessly with all their friends. And at this time, while they were playing, this powerful magician, Vyoma, the son of Maya, disguised as a cowboy, stole the boys and began acting as a sheep. And when he stole all these boys, he was placing them in a cave and putting a large boulder across the entrance of the cave and kidnapping all these boys. He was thinking, of course, he was a servant of Kamsa, and he was thinking that if I remove all these boys first, then very easily I'll be able to kill Krishna. So this was his devious plan. And gradually he stole almost all the boys and placed them in a mountain cave, which he sealed with a large boulder. And then only 4 or 5 boys remained. And then Krishna understood who this personality was. Of course, he'd understood all along and was just watching to see how he was going to approach him. In what way was he going to try to kill him? And then Krishna, it's described, grabbed Vyoma as a lion grabs a wolf. Completely held on to him tightly. So then Vyoma, he changed back into his original form, which was very big and powerful as a great mountain. But Krishna kept his grip completely tight on Vyoma, and Vyoma was jumping into the sky, but Krishna was holding him the whole time. And then Vyoma and Krishna would crash onto the ground. Krishna would be riding on the body of Vyoma, so it was Vyoma's body that crashed on the ground. And it crashed with such force that Mother Earth seemed to be practically pushed off her axis. And at that time, Baladev could understand what his duty was in this pastime, and he firmly placed his foot on Mother Earth and steadied Mother Earth. So just below this cave of Vyomasura, we have the fortune to see this huge footprint of Baladev Prabhu, where he steadied Mother Earth when she appeared to be slipping on her axis. So this is a very beautiful pastime to remember of Krishna and Balaram, how together they destroyed this demon Vyoma. And then after Krishna, it's described that he grabbed him with his 2 arms and he killed him as one kills a sacrificial animal, by suffocation and strangulation. Just as Vyoma had tried to kill the cowherd boys by suffocation. This was Vyoma's plan. He tried to suffocate them in this cave. Actually, all the boys had passed out in the cave. And straight after Krishna had smashed this demon to pieces, he went straight to the cave, and with one punch, he shattered that boulder that had sealed the cage and allowed all the air to enter, and the Sakas, they all revived and were so joyous to see this huge demon that Krishna had destroyed. So Krishna again was the hero of the Sakas and was praised so extensively, and Balaram also. So this is the story of Vyomasura and of Baladev steadying the planet Earth at that time. Very close by here, we just walk through the village, and perhaps a kilometer through the village, through very simple country roads. We leave the buses on the road, and we come to the slide, this stone slide, where Krishna and the Sakas would enjoy such sweet pastimes. This Pahardi, this Pichala Pahardi is what it's called. And Krishna and the Sakas, and sometimes the Sakis, would come, and they would also slide on this slide. And even today, this slide is very slippery and a lot of fun. The devotees always take great pleasure in coming to this place, and all the devotees slide down this slide. We see the simple pleasures of the Brijbasis. In our Western culture, we have created so many apparent sophisticated pleasures that we derive joy from. But in this natural, sweet setting of Vrindavan, it was just the most simple pleasures that would bring such joy and happiness to Krishna and his sakhas and the sakhis. So they would play with great bliss and happiness on this slide, going up and down, all kinds of different games. But today we can sit there, and it's very, very slippery. You sit at the top, and it's probably about 30, 40 feet in length, maybe a little bit longer, and you can slide very quickly right down the bottom. So it's a lot of fun for the devotees today. We take great pleasure in playing on that slide, just as Krishna played on that slide 5,000 years ago. So then, after visiting these 4 particular places in this one area, the Bhojan Thali and Krishna Kund and Balaram's footprint and Vyomasura's cave and this Pichali Pahadi, the slide, then we return to the buses, and this time we drive right into the township of Kamyavan. Kamyavan was indeed a very great city in ancient times, and it has 7 principal gates, and they are Dig Gate, Lanka Gate, Amera Gate, Devi Gate, Delhi Gate, Ramaji Gate, and Mathura Gate, and they're all leading to these different cities. So this gives us an impression of the size of Kamyavan. Kamyavan, of course, is the ancestral home of Mother Yashoda. This is where Mother Yashoda is from. Her family is from Kamyavan. As I described before, Kamyavan is in fact very close to Nandagan and Varshana. It's just, if you cut across as the crow flies, it's very close, but if you travel around the roads, it's a lot longer. So this gives us some indication of the size of this township. So we come into the crowded area of Kamyavan and we park the buses at Vimal Kund. Vimal Kund is a huge kund. And after we've just parked the buses, we leave straight away for Parikrama of the rest of Kamyavan. This is going to include Vrindadevi, Govindadev, Gopinath, Kameshwara, and some of the places that the 5 Pandavas touched on.